On a scale of 1 to magical girls transforming, how anime do you like your video games? If it's closer to the latter, you might find enjoyment in Gurumin, a Monstrous adventure. Maybe. Before we start, I'm covering this game from beginning to end, so spoiler alert. You play as the new girl in town named Perrin, or whatever you choose to rename her to. The town is a mining town and doesn't have many other children, so Perrin finds friendship in the adjacent monster town. The monster inhabitants here are characters that you'll be exposed to for most of the game, but sadly for them, their town gets wrecked right after the first mission by the game's antagonists, the Phantoms. The game sees you going from level to level rebuilding this town for the monster inhabitants. This system of reconstructing the town is the thread that holds this game together, as well as acting as a nice visual indicator for the progress that you're making. But it doesn't actually integrate into the gameplay in any way, such as being able to choose the order which you're rebuilding or anything like that. The game's levels are usually pretty straightforward. You go from room to room fighting off bad guys until you make it to the item at the end, which then gets put back into your town. Perrin takes down these bad guys with her magic drill, which is the only weapon you'll be using throughout the entire game. All of your attacks are handled by a single button, so executing some of Perrin's special attacks can be a little difficult. One attack in particular demands you hit the dodge button, then circle your analog stick around, then hit the attack button. This attack is one of the ones you're going to want to use the most often too, because it's one of the few attacks that actually has range on it. It gets super tiresome, and executing it isn't the only way you're going to wrestle with the controls. The platforming in this game sucks. Perrin's jump is super floaty, and it always feels like she's walking on ice, even when she isn't walking on ice. You'll always do this weird slide thing whenever you land, and it makes landing accurately super annoying. Fuck. Thankfully, the game doesn't demand you do precision platforming all too often. You'll do some puzzles too, but the puzzles range from super simple block puzzles that you've solved long before you've actually pushed them into place, or really obtuse riddles. What do you mean, show you my power? Do you want me to attack you? Smash these giant rocks in front of you to show you how strong I am? Oh wait, actually we just had to do this one really specific attack in this room at the air. Of course, what was I thinking? In between levels you can head back to town to resupply. The human town, that is, not the monster town. Why is the human town even in the game? The only reason you go there is to buy stuff, but why not just have the monsters be the vendors? Now that I think about it, the monster town really doesn't do anything. Everyone just kind of chills there and dances the whole time. What a waste. And man, does the way this game handled leveling up make no sense. You go from level 1 to level 3, which increases the damage that you do with your drill. But getting hit can actually send you down in levels. Who thought this was a good idea? Not only is it a boring system, it's extremely unrewarding seeing the levels that you've earned taken away from you. Oh, also, the enemy design might be some of the most bland I've ever seen in a video game. These phantoms are basically the only enemies you're going to fight in the entire game. They're just these little blue cyclops looking things with random pieces of junk thrown on top of them. Also, this junk you're seeing them wearing isn't just visual. You'll have to pierce it with a heavy attack before you can do damage to them. The only way to perform a heavy attack is to hold down the attack button, which first sends out a light attack, and then fires off a heavy attack when you release it. If you hold too long though, it will force you to do a dash attack, which is way clunkier than it sounds, trust me. Also, there is a critical hit timing system in the game, when hitting enemies along with the beat will do bonus damage. Cool idea, but the beats were so fast that just spamming the attack button would usually line up with them. This should have been a bigger focus in the game, maybe having it sync to the background music and forcing you to adapt based on the song that's playing, that'd be kinda cool. Also, the boss battles suck too. They usually aren't that difficult, but they have such a monstrously huge health bar that you just wail on them for 10 minutes while you watch it chip away. The last boss is an absolute embarrassment. He's broken down into two phases. The first one where you just run around in circles and dodge everything and wait till cutscenes trigger where he takes damage. And the second one where you think it's a little bit more interesting. Each of his limbs take damage, so you think maybe get all tactical, strike the right ones. Nope. Your power attacks can be lined up in such a way that they hit every single limb plus his chest at the same time, essentially doing quintuple damage. Just spam this shit the whole time. Once you've finally taken down this final boss, peace is restored and the phantoms and monsters live happily ever after. Yay! Apparently there's a real ending, but I'll be damned if I play this game another second. The levels are just so boring. Seriously, they're just room after room after room. I mean, look at this footage I'm showing you guys. This is 2 different levels you're looking at. Yeah, I'm serious. The only thing worse than everything I've mentioned so far is the game's voice acting. Take a listen.
Grown-up humans can't see us monsters. Wow, a real monster. Are you afraid of monsters?
Ugh, this is bad even by dubbed anime standards. Gurumin: A Monstrous Adventure could have been a charming game, but frustrating controls and extremely repetitive gameplay make it kind of a chore to play through.